Hello beautiful and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we are going to try out some new things from Jaclyn Cosmetics. She released her first eyeshadow palette ever and it is a collab with her mom, so we are going to see what the formula is all about, if this is like a good formula or not. I'm going to do two different looks. I'm going to show you some swatches and I'm going to let you know if I think that this is something that you is worth spending your money on. And if you haven't been here before, if this is your first video here, hello, my name is Angie. I am such a lover of beauty makeup. I love everything beauty and makeup related, especially things that are a little bit more colorful and a little bit more dramatic, which is going to be a task with this fairly neutral palette. But if you want to see some more makeup and timeline, do not forget to subscribe because I upload 5 videos a week. Okay, so this collection of like her collab with her mom Robin, it was released, I'm thinking Sunday, and I did order this from Ulta. I did not pay for express shipping and I got it fairly quickly. Like it took like 3 days or something. So it is the eyeshadow palette. Fairly sure that this is $49. It is a 20 pan palette. I'm just gonna show you some swatches here. Just like first impression opening this palette, these first 4 shades here, I don't feel like we as a community needed all of this. I understand as a collaborator that you might need all of these shades when you're getting ready, but I also think that like making a collab palette is a fine line between making exactly what you want, like your perfect palette, and making something that other people might also perceive as their perfect palette or something that they would want. And I feel like this is something that I've said with the palettes that Jaclyn Hill has done with Morphe as well. Most people don't need 2 base shadows like this. I don't need even one. Like I don't need even one like this. Maybe I'll be, you know what, I'll make it a mission to use one of these in one of my looks, but I didn't need 2 shadows that are so similar. And I feel like sometimes it is important to edit yourself, even though you as a person might need both of them doing your makeup. I feel a huge chunk of the community did not. This one is a shimmer though. These are just too similar. Don't feel like there's a big enough jump at like all, like I get it, but at the same time I don't get it. Like they're a little bit too similar. But it also comes from someone who's not like, it's not that I dislike neutrals. I don't dislike neutrals. I might not just be as in love with neutrals as I am with colorful shadows. So maybe that's why I'm not seeing the nuances. So if you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. Friends don't always agree. Friends can definitely disagree. Let's just be a little bit respectful about it. I mean, my channel is like my opinions. It's the way it's gonna be. I'm just very curious to see how the eyeshadow formula is from Jaclyn Cosmetics because this is the first eyeshadow palette that the brand has released. They also released a eye primer and this is the first base eyeshadow primer. I'm fairly sure, yeah, this one doesn't say like in collaboration with Robin or anything, so I'm fairly sure that this one is part of her permanent line. It looks a lot like the primer that I've been using lately, which is this one from About Face. They look extremely similar and I have really been enjoying this one. I do feel like this one gives a base that's has a little bit of coverage. It does make your eyeshadows last longer and pop and not crease, and it's also not tacky, so it's fairly easy to like blend. This helps with blending. You know that grip primer from Milk that I really disliked, and also that party proof one from Colourpop. I feel like those were not helping the eyeshadows. I do think though that this, if it is a bad eyeshadow formula or an eyeshadow formula that could benefit from a little bit of a pop, this one from About Face might not necessarily save a formula that might need a little bit more pigment in a way that a tacky base might. So we're gonna see if this one is like the About Face one, or if this one is a tacky one like the Urban Decay Primer Potion, or if this one is one of those slicky, greasy, yucky ones like the Milk Primer. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I also got this powder. I am actually wearing this powder today. I will link all the things that I have on my face down below, including where you can find these items in case you are interested. My links are affiliated, so if you do shop through my links, thank you so much for supporting my channel. It really helps out. This is the Powder Move Loose Setting Powder, and this one says that it is in collaboration with Robin. So I'm not 100% sure if they are not gonna keep this or if it's just limited as in packaging or like what's going on. But I got mine in sheer medium, and as you can see, I mean, I'm wearing it today so it looks nice, but if you're like me and if you're in between shades, I would go a shade down because I probably should have picked up light. I'm usually a light medium, but since there was like fair, light, medium, and then like a couple of shades darker as well. I picked the medium. I probably should have picked the light, but as you can see on my face, it is a sheer medium, so it still works out. I just wouldn't use this under my eyes. I feel like it's looking a little bit blurry, and my face is feeling matte but not flat. There is a little bit of sheen in this powder, not sparkly like her other finishings powder, more like a slight sheen to it. So yeah, maybe we should just zoom in. I want to do 2 looks. Usually when I get a new eyeshadow palette, especially if it's like a formula that I'm unsure about, I want to do a first and a second impression. So I tend to do like first and second impressions, like 2 looks with a new palette, and that's what we're going to do today. We're definitely starting with the green. I'm going to start with the green and do like a... What are we doing? Am I going to do like a green smoky eye? Maybe with the silver? Let's do that. Let's do a green smoky eye with the silver, and then I'll do a neutral look where I'll try to bring on as much contrast as possible using one of these very beigey shades. So let's see how this one is. Ooh, let's not have concealer here though, shall we? It feels a little bit more liquidy than the one from About Face. Let's see if I can just work this in a little bit. Should I have read the instructions? Is this one of the ones that you have to wait or not? Wait or not? Instructions. I'm gonna need instructions. No instructions. So I'm not waiting then. Okay, so I'm definitely doing this one that's called Moo, which, lovely name by the way. What do I want to do in my crease? I feel like I'm gonna do Farm Girl and just put that a little bit in my crease, and then we'll do the Moo. There's so many things in front of me, like if you could see the chaos in front of me, and I'm usually the person that's like always so... Ooh, this creases a little bit. I'm usually the person that's like organized. I don't leave stuff out, like I always like pick up my stuff after me, but it's been crazy. Oh my god, I have something in my eye. But yeah, it's been crazy with how things have been these past 2 weeks. I've just been so busy. Oh, and if you don't know about my makeup technique, I usually don't go in with just a little and start like blending and building. I usually pack on and then I blend the edges. I'm not the kind of person that just, you know, does this wind wiper motion, you know, the one that we were taught by Jaclyn in 2017. Yeah, I've realized I'm not that girl. I realized that's not for me. There is a little tack to this primer, but nothing bad to be honest. I will say that the primer does grip a little bit, so it makes it a little hard to blend on top of it. Nothing impossible, but just letting you know, I am not the person, this is Moo by the way, the green. I'm not the person that's gonna set a primer with powder, or you can see here, it like grips a little bit, with a primer or like a base shadow, because for me, that makes 0 sense, because the reason why you're having an eye primer is to make your shadow pop, and if you're setting it with a shadow that you're kind of cover up, I feel like that makes no sense. So for me, I like to go in and be able to blend on top of a primer with the eyeshadow that I actually want to be seen, and I feel like it works, but it is a little tacky compared to the one that I use from About Face. But maybe if you just set your brow bone or where you need to blend out with like a base shadow or something, I never do brow bone highlights, it will make it easier to blend that edge. So this is the green shadow. I feel like this is pigmented, very pigmented. So I'm just gonna do green in the crease. That's a really nice khaki. Is it like green? I mean, it's green, but it's very khaki green. So I feel like it's one of those greens that you can get away with, even if you think that green is a little scary. Alright, I like that shadow. That's a really nice shadow. I think that looks nice. Let me just add a little more, blend the edges. I think I'm gonna put this green under my eyes as well. I will say I did have to spend a little time getting this blend to be this, and I don't know if it's the eyeshadow or if it's the primer. On my second look, I will use another primer just to make sure to see if it's like the eyeshadow or the primer. I think it looks nice though. It looks really nice. I'm gonna use Tootsie. Is it Tootsie? And I'm gonna use the Thankful. I'm gonna use those two shades. So I'm gonna start out with Tootsie, the green khaki metallic on the outer part, and then I'll do the silver on the inner part. I'm gonna spray these because I don't want a lot of fallout. Ooh, that is a really pretty khaki green. It's not intensely foiled, but usually dark metallics aren't because of the pigment. It makes it a little hard to make them super high shine. But yeah, I like that. That looks really nice. Let me actually deepen up this outer corner with a little bit of the black as well, because I said so. So, do all moms say that? Like, I feel like that's such a mom thing, because my mom definitely said stuff like that to me. I'm gonna take a little bit of this black now, and I'm just gonna see if I can... That's actually more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I expected. Sometimes blacks are more buildable, sometimes they're really pigmented. I can work with both formulas, but it is easier to work with a black that's more buildable rather than super pigmented. If it's any shade that I would prefer to have buildable over pigmented, it is a black, but that looks really pretty. This is... It's a little choppy though. I'm going to clean off the brush. I'm going to take a little bit of the mousse, and I'm gonna blend this edge. Okay, so this is the silver that's called Thankful. I'm spraying that as well, and apparently also spraying a cat hair. And we are gonna put that... Oh yeah, that's more metallic, like an actual like silver. I like a silver. I think silvers are really fun. That is extremely contrasty. Okay. I'm undecided if I want to have like a sharp edge or if I want to just blend it out. I think I'm gonna blend it out, and we can do a sharp edge in the next look. Although this is so intense. I mean, I've had more intense metallics for sure, but this is definitely a really nice like metallic silver. I'm gonna put a little bit on my lower lash line here as well. This silver took over. Maybe this silver, like, you need to be more precise with it. Let me actually be precise with it, because this was an intense silver. So let me be more precise and more deliberate. Yeah, I honestly think this is better because, like, it's just too metallic of a silver. I think this is, like, better that is, like, actually intense. But I do want to try, one of the, let me do the biscuit, because the biscuit seems like it has less peach in it, and I'm gonna do a little bit of this and just see if we can use this as an inner corner highlight, if it's like pigmented enough for that. Straight out of the bat, no, it is not. This is definitely a setting, a primer or a concealer kind of a shade. I don't know how to use shades like this. Okay, mascara is on. I'm actually going to use the Too Faced Killer Liner in the, I think it's called Killer Camo. Wait, am I lying? Killer Camo. I thought one of the eyeliners in this collection was going to be a khaki green. I even remember saying that in my new makeup releases, but it wasn't. So I decided to not buy any of the eyeliners. Had it been a green, I would have bought it, but I just bought a burgundy liner, so I didn't need that, and I very rarely use black, gray, or brown liners. Like, so rare that I definitely don't need it. But yeah, this is the look, and you know what? Now that I have mascara on and everything, I really like this look. I think it is absolutely stunning. I like everything about it. I like how subtly green it is. I love the shimmer and the contrast with the silver. I'm a big fan. I think everything looks really blended and nice. I will do my second look with, I'll do it with this one, because this one is really easy to blend upon, and we can see if it's just a primer that's a little tacky and you might need to, because when you have a tacky primer, what you can do is that you can set just the edge on like the brow bone where you need to blend upwards. You can just set that part with a little bit of translucent powder or like a skin colored eyeshadow to make it easier. You don't have to set the actual crease or the lid where you want it to like stick a bit. But per usual, my first impressions are first impressions. I always come back and review stuff a little better later on after like a month or so. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this look. It looks incredible, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm really living for this look. I was actually thinking that I was gonna film my new makeup releases wearing my second look, but I think I'm gonna sit down and film it now because I really like this look. This is, okay, a lot of people are gonna look at this and be like, this is in neutrals, but for me, this is exactly like I talked in yesterday's video. If you missed yesterday's video, that was with the Colourpop and Winnie the Pooh collection. These are my kind of neutrals. Like if I want to do neutrals, this is what I would do. Still a little bit like a murky green, like a khaki. It's got like a brown transition shade. It's not like poppy colors, but it's enough contrast with the silver. I really like this look. This color combo, stunning. If you do buy this palette or if you have similar colors at home, I definitely recommend the silver with the khaki green blended into the brown. Big fan. Really, really like it. And I will say, yes, I did spend maybe an extra minute blending the edges, but now that it's blended, it looks really gorgeous. It really looks gorgeous. It doesn't look patchy at all. Looks really pretty. Okay, so far, fairly impressed. I'm gonna film another video wearing this beautiful look, but you're gonna see look number 2 right now. Okay, I'm using the About Face primer in this look, and I started with the color Rachy, which is this like orangey one here. I feel like I also got too much powder under my eyes. It's feeling a little dry. I feel like this color is more on the buildable side than the straight up pigmented side. Like I can definitely build it up, like you can see, but it's not like full on pigment straight out of the gate. I want to use both the Meat and Potatoes and the Biscuit. I want to use both of those. This is such like, weird names. Like I understand that it's a collab palette, but like Meat and Potatoes, okay. But I want to use those and like really create some contrast. I think I'm gonna put this under my eyes as well. Okay, so do I want to do this one or do I want to go straight into this one? I think we're gonna go straight into that one, right? The Bad Mousy. And we're just gonna try and deepen this up a little bit with that, both in the crease and in the outer corner. Am I being a little predictable in my looks? Maybe, but I also want to do something that like there is a fine line between being creative and doing new, fun, different things and also doing stuff that you actually would like to recreate or that actually is inspiring you. I feel like that's a border that like as a YouTuber, you're on that border constantly. Not being too boring, not being too predictable, but also not being too crazy and too out there so that people actually are not inspired by your looks enough to want to at least recreate parts of it. This brown is working out really, really nice. I'm gonna take a look. That is definitely a cat hair. Okay, again, I'm gonna take a little bit of the black and I'm just gonna put a little bit out here. Nothing intense, just a little bit in the absolute corner, just to give, you can see the difference. There's just a little bit of depth there. Nothing intense, just for the sake of dimension, which is how I like to use black. Dimension, we're faking it. Fake it till you make it. And now we're into the part where I told you, I'm gonna use either one of, listen, these are the same. Like, yeah, they have a different undertone, but they're so sheer. First of all, you can't even see them. That's how sheer they are. One is there and one you can't even see. They're so sheer that you really didn't need both of them, in my humble opinion. But I'm gonna use the one that's called Biscuit. And I want to do, should I cut my crease? I did bring out the Jaclyn concealer, which is not my favorite under the eyes. If you saw that video, if you know, you know. But it's really good for cutting creases. Like it dries down like cement, which is good when you do a cut crease. So I'm thinking, should we do the drama like that? Like a cut crease? And then I can add a little bit of the Meat and Potatoes, like a shimmer in the middle. I'm thinking that this is a good plan because I'm gonna be honest with you, that light like beigey shade, it is not pigmented enough to do that without cutting the crease first. And I understand that maybe it's not meant to be a lid shade, but personally, when you put something that is that light in a palette, I really think it is important to make it pigmented so that people of all skin tones can use it, at least as an inner corner highlight or as a lid color. But if you make it sheer like it is in this palette, it just makes it a too light of a setting powder. So that's how I'm gonna use it today. I'm gonna set this concealer with that shadow. You know when you draw on too thick of an eyeliner and then you have to even it out and it becomes even more and more uneven and eventually you end up with something that looks like a shape that you definitely did not have in mind? Yeah, that's what happened with this cut crease. It did not end up the way that I thought it was gonna be, but it's okay. I'm setting the concealer with this powder shadow. It is far from perfect. It is so crooked. Can I fix that? Can I do line there? Maybe I can do line. Should I do line? I need to fix that. Like, what is this? Or is it one of those good enough moments? Is it a good enough moment or is it you need to fix this right now moment? Is it okay? No. No, it's not okay. But you know what? It is what it is. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm not redoing it. We're gonna have to live with this. It is what it is. Oh, I wanted to do a little bit of the... It's called meat and potatoes. I think I'm just gonna put some on my finger. I will say, they do swatch pretty, but it's not as smooth as I thought they were gonna be. Like, not as creamy. But that could also help with the longevity. So I'm just putting a little bit of this shimmer in the middle. Like that. I'm just putting a little bit in the middle. And then I'm gonna use that dark brown Bad Mousy. And I'm just... This is so uneven. Can you forgive me? Who let me do this? Okay, I added some mascara. These are so uneven. How am I supposed to live, love, laugh during these conditions? I decided to change to an orange lippy to detract from the... Now my lips are uneven too. Listen, I'm living an uneven life today. It's chaos, okay? I woke up and I chose chaos. Can I like blame age that it's like my folds making it this uneven? I don't know. Can I? Is that a possibility? Because if I can, I am definitely blaming that. I'm blaming my wrinkles. I changed to the Gucci Louise Orange. Because I thought orange would, like, listen, there's always a good excuse for an orange lippy. I mean, I like the look. It's nice. It's neutral. I like it. It's nice. It's performing nicely. I just prefer something that is a little bit more pigmented. Like a little bit more bam, because I don't feel like this is bam enough. And I also can't draw a straight line to save my life, apparently. Lucky my life wasn't on the line because I'd be toast. Okay, let me back up, get some lashes on. Listen, I'm a Monet today because this situation is... It's crooked. I'm gonna do that old YouTuber trick, you know, when you put on lashes and cover up your mistakes. Although I always use half lashes, so it's still not gonna cover up this one. Maybe if I sit like this. If I like raise my eyebrow and even out the folds, it looks a little bit more symmetrical. Maybe I'll finish up the video. I mean, I like the look. I think it's nice, but I'm gonna be honest with you. With this palette, the shades that I like is the green, and the silver. And that's probably why I really like that first look, because it had the shades that I find interesting. I don't dislike neutrals, but this is a more buildable formula, and I do feel a lot of these shades are fairly similar, and there's something about this palette that Okay, this is how I'm gonna put it. If you don't like neutrals, you're not gonna like this palette. I don't dislike the palette for the quality. I personally prefer a formula that's more pigmented straight out of the gate, but if you like more a formula that's buildable and not super pigmented, like just as you go in with the brush, you're probably gonna like this. If you like neutrals and wanna have like neutrals that are a mix of cool tones and some warm tones, you might like this. Personally, I thought I was gonna be more inspired by the color story than I am. But now that I look at it, I even had a hard time deciding what shades to use for my second look, because it's like a lot of these shades are just very similar, at least on the eyes, and especially since they are not 100% opaque, it makes it even less sense for shades that are this similar, and like this one and like a couple of like, it makes it even less, for me, it makes less sense for them to be so similar in a palette when they're not 100% opaque, because then when you blend them out, they do tend to look a little bit the same. This comes from a person that's not a million% a neutral lover. If you are a neutral lover, you might look at this and be like, bitch, what are you talking about? All of these shades are needed. I mean, that's how Jaclyn and her mother feels, and they are lovers of neutrals. So take this from someone that's more a lover of color but likes to dip her toes into more dramatic neutrals at times. This isn't really the palette for me. I thought I was going to be more inspired when I tried it than I was, and I think for me, the main culprit is the color story. But that says more about me than it does about anything else. If Jaclyn Cosmetics releases a color story that's more up my alley in the future, I'll definitely try it out again, but at least now I know to not get another neutral palette from Jaclyn Cosmetics. It's like I need to keep this in mind, because if it's going to be a neutral palette, I need it to be a little bit more drama or a little bit more pigment. I'm going to need one of the two. A little bit more drama or a little bit more pigmented. I think this is more a neutral palette for neutral lovers. The eyeshadow primer, I like it, but I don't think it's going to be a favorite. I am wearing another eyeshadow primer with this look. I tried the other one instead, the one from About Face, and I do feel like it was a little bit easier to blend on that one. So if you're looking for something that really grips onto your eyeshadows, this might be for you. I like the powder a lot. I'm wearing the powder. Of course, I have like a highlighter and everything on. I think the powder is really nice. I'm gonna try this out a little bit more. First impression is that it's as nice and flattering on the skin as her other finishing powder, but that one is more shimmery and this is more a luminous matte. That's what I would call this powder. A luminous matte that really like looks nice on the skin. But if you're like me and you're in between shades, go a shade down. So if you're like me, light to medium, go for the light one, because the medium is definitely a little, even though it's a sheer medium and it works for me, I should have gotten the light. So if you didn't learn anything from this video, at least take that information with you. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. We are allowed to disagree on color stories and preferences and all of that. I'm not disappointed with the quality. I don't know why I expected more from the color story. Maybe I'd had a drink when I bought this. Who knows? But I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again tomorrow for my new makeup releases. Bye!